Now we are officially switching to
Yeah.
our English.
Yeah.
And
Nice to see you also.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Finally,
Likewise.
I've been following the brand and a big fan.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We made it here, starting to dry up a bit after a little rainy start.
Yeah.
So what's going on? How is life in the clothing business?
Life is busy. It's I keep saying I wish I had more hours than 24 in a day, but it's I doubt that's going to change anytime soon.
Mm.
But yeah, it's nice. It's a very competitive field, but that gives me motivation to push and learn and improve every day. So
Mm.
I like it.
So how long have you actually been involved with Drago?
Since September 8th, 2023. So coming up on 2 years in a few days. We started selling first in October after receiving the first bulk order, which was just a white T-shirt, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up on 2 years. of
Okay,
learning.
congratulations.
Thank you.
2 years. That's time that flies quickly, eh?
It is, and it kind of feels like a long time, but at the same time, zooming out, it's nothing.
Yeah,
Right? I'm planning on being in business for the rest of my life.
yeah.
So
Are you originally from Copenhagen?
originally from Ballerup.
Ballerup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Born in Hvidovre.
Yeah.
Moved to actually born in Hvidovre, lived here for 7 months, still being an infant, and then moving to Ballerup and having
Okay.
lived there until 1 year ago, I think. That's when I
Okay.
moved to
Yeah.
Copenhagen.
Okay. So what if I like? How does it happen that you started getting into fashion and making clothes?
I think at least being creative and standing out in one way or another has always been pretty native to me. When I was 11 years old, I did YouTube. That's another story. I did Minecraft and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think I was 9 actually, and later on, I got interested in fashion and things that I could make myself a little bit different. I guess now that I've pondered about it, and I tried to start a clothing brand when I was 11, 12 ish, and
Wait, at the age of 11, 12?
yeah, obviously not knowing what would have to go into it, but I bought like a little sewing kit and I bought some markers and like some big canvas paper and an embroidery tool, I guess it's called, which is like a circle and then you have fabric and you kind of tighten it up so you can do some embroidery by needle. And then having embroidered the first logo, which looked like shit, it was like not tightened up and anything like that. So when that happened, I was like, okay, this is probably not scalable. I'm not going to be able to. I can't even sew one logo. How would I do like 50 for a piece or something? But so then that got put on the shelf. Then around like 3 years ago, I'd say, when I started getting into like content again, I was doing some training content, and it kind of I was also coaching for fitness at that time, and I was like, it would be cool to have some merchandise for all of my clients.
Mm.
And I started getting like the idea, and at that time I also had the name Drago or Drago, but it never really came further than just like coming up with some ideas for some clothing. And then it happened 2 years ago when one of my friends was also going to make a clothing brand, and I was like, oh yeah, I've always thought about the idea, and he was like, well, it's pretty easy. You just got to do this and this, and that got me started, and then I've developed and continue to do so.
So what does Draco mean actually?
It's kind of something where the meaning came to me after. It originated from me posting a story and some dude calling me Ivan Drago from the Rocky movies.
Okay.
And while I don't see the resemblance, me not being a juiced up Russian,
I don't know that guy, to be honest.
No,
I don't think I remember watching the Rocky films at all. Maybe I need to, but
I've never even finished them. I've seen one. Actually, I've seen the later ones, but the first ones I think I only watched.
It's
like
a fighter
half.
film, right?
Yeah, it's a boxing movie.
Okay, then I gotta
with
watch
Sylvester
it.
Stallone. Yeah.
Okay.
But some guy called me, said I resembled Ivan Drago, and the name just stuck pretty much. And then I found out there's like some meanings in different languages that I quite liked. And the year that was coming up on me founding Drago. So 2024 was the Chinese Year of the Dragon.
Okay.
So Drago Dragon, felt like that was kind of like the stars aligned.
Okay.
Almost.
Cool.
And then, but yeah, I came to love the name after having founded it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So listen, I'm gonna run you through this question because I did prepare some questions for you, and as I told you before, I really want to try and stick to this one.
Yeah.
So let's go with this first question for you and see where we go from there. So, what was the original spark behind Draco? Was there a moment when you knew you wanted to build a clothing brand?
Yeah, I guess that first one was when I was younger, but the original spark for Drago being the Drago that it is now, me founding the business and getting like a CVR number and everything. I think that spark was my friend going to make that his own clothing brand, and then just me thinking about all the possibilities and everything that I've wanted to do in my life, pretty much just culminating into one thing.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, how long did it take you initially to get the foundation to building and starting the brand? Like, how much time do you think you had to invest into learning the different areas of building the brand?
I think I've been very lucky that I've always had some sort of computer or something available to me, thanks to my parents being very supportive in me wanting to do a bunch of different stuff. So the whole process, the active process, I'd say, from me getting the idea of creating the actual Drago to me having my first product is like a month. But I think my whole life pretty much has just culminated in me learning skills such as Photoshop and creative designing in that, and then video editing and having like a sense of, well, inherently being able to create a successful brand is just having style.
Mm-hmm.
So having a sense of style is just my whole life compacted into one moment, and then that 1 month of executing.
Yeah, because I think most people, they kind of are afraid of the initial having to acquire the skill.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with acquiring the skill of being creative or starting a brand, is that you have to do everything in the beginning. Because nobody, unless you're born with some kind of financial
Yeah.
gold mine where you
Yeah.
can just outsource everything, you have to take care of the the artwork, the branding, the creating, the content. Yeah. So, but where are you now with this? Like, do you have like a manufacturer who you're using? Can you tell us a bit about like the different areas of running the business?
Yeah. So currently, I still wear almost every hat. So we are me primarily, and my girlfriend who I'm sparring with, and she's getting like more into it, helping with some of the creative process in terms of marketing because she's studying that, and she has some competences that I can draw on, and me not wanting to be the only one who has some input because you can kind of blind yourself in what's cool and what's not cool, and will this be good? So I'm sparring a lot with her, but essentially it's just me in Drago.
Yeah.
So I'm marketing, I'm producing the products, and in terms of outsourcing the manufacturing, obviously I have a couple manufacturers, but I have one primary manufacturer, and I try to do as much as I can with them.
Where's the manufacturer?
In Guangzhou, China.
Okay, China. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a difficult process, like finding the manufacturer? Because I know personally, I also looked into it a little bit, and I felt like it was a little overwhelming
Yeah.
to have to like sit and talk to Chinese manufacturers. And I hear a lot of guys like talking about having problems with finding a good manufacturer who can deliver and is at a good price point.
Yeah. I think I was very lucky with finding my primary manufacturer, because the way that I did it, I'm gonna give up some free game now. Is if you want to start a
let's
clothing
go.
brand, you can go onto Alibaba.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then you just gotta. Then it's up to your own skill. So the sourcing itself is not hard. It's everything around that. You you have to be able to make a tech pack. You have to have a good design. You have to have some insight in consumer demands. But then pretty much once you have all that and you've done your research, you go into Alibaba and you do what's called an RFQ, a request for quotation. So you pretty much just put on that tech pack,
Mm-hmm.
and then different manufacturers will come to you with their business propositions and what they can create for you, and
Mm-hmm.
what's the minimum order quantity, and what's the unit cost, and stuff like that. So I did that initially for a t-shirt and some mesh shorts, and the only manufacturer that responded to the t-shirt RFQ was my current primary manufacturer. So that was kind of like a no-brainer. I had to try making a t-shirt with them.
Mm-hmm.
The shorts manufacturer ended up being not so good, so I postponed the production of the shorts until my primary manufacturer could source mesh material.
Mesh material.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what I ended up making with the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I was lucky.
And how much do you think, like, initially you would need to invest to start? Like, let's just say you want to get 500 or 1,000 t-shirts done and some caps, like,
Yeah,
with like branding. What do you think young guys out there are looking at?
yeah.
They want
I'd
to start
say
their own clothing line.
if you wanted to make 500 or 1,000, you either have to also have some kind of brand already,
Yeah.
be it a personal brand or something.
Would you recommend to build a brand basically, like, before you kind of like start acquiring and ordering?
It depends how patient you
bigger-
are, right? Because and it also depends what your primary goal is. So if you just want to make a clothing brand, I'd just get started as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say you want to build a personal brand also with the main goal of having a clothing brand later. The personal brand is not even a guarantee that you're going to have a successful clothing brand later. And that 2-3 years you're going to spend building a personal brand is 2-3 years that you could spend learning how to be successful in the clothing brand business. And in terms of the initial investment, I started with 10,000 Danish crowns, which is nothing. Pretty much, I could get like one product for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could get, I think it was 80 t-shirts. And with that only being 80, that allowed me to still sell out while building the brand.
Yeah.
So if you want to make 500 or 1,000 pieces of one single style, then you would also need some cash for like marketing.
Yeah.
If you don't have that personal brand.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting to mention that now everything is online and everyone's buying off brands online, and you don't have this gap between being able to build a brand
Mhm.
through the shops. You know, back in the day,
Yeah.
you'd have to go into the shop, and the shop was the one selling the cool brands. Where
Yeah.
now, like, a lot of these huge brands, they're built online. And I know one of the big ones is these early sign-ups,
Mm-hmm.
where they kind of get you to sign up for the early
Oh
release.
yeah.
Or they even do it on WhatsApp. You know, they're
Yeah.
just sending out a message like sign up, and then they write you the message,
Mhm.
and then they just watch. You know, I've seen these viral videos of people just watching the orders.
Yeah.
So is that basically also what you're trying to do, or are you trying to go, like, is your vision to go into shops and, you know, the big outlets?
Mm. I think I initially started wanting to do the kind of drop strategy.
Yeah, drop strategy.
So I figured out that it wasn't really as easy as it looks on TikTok. It's not like you get these mail signups and then instantly you sell out. That's like how you kind of see it, because scrolling on TikTok and everybody's doing that and everybody's selling out and doing like 100,000 in the first drop. You also got to realize that you need 100,000 in products to actually be able to sell for 100,000. But the strategy right now is not being so drop based, because when you don't have when you're, at least when I was building up that order quantity with my manufacturer, I wanted to be able to sell all the time, and not just having like 1 or 2 days where I maybe in the beginning sold 5 products the first day or like 10 products the first day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to get my products out to as many people as possible, because I think they're great. I think my experience is that everybody who touches my products really have a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so like, oh, it's cool or whatever. It's actually like a genuine, almost explosion of excitement
Yeah,
when they
sure.
feel the product and when they see the fit. And
Mm.
um, So yeah, I guess at some point, I want to go into some kind of store. I would prefer that to be my own,
Hmm.
but I have thought about some consignment deals with somebody just to spread the word.
So you're a man of details.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think what you say is actually quite spot on. When you get something and you touch it for the first time, everything from the packaging to like opening it
Hmm.
to the first look to the first feel, it all plays into the experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And like for me at least with clothes, I have the classic problem that I love it the first time I get it,
Hmm.
and then of course like it just
The
loses
excitement fades.
the excitement factor fades, as you
Yeah,
say. But then I do have some pieces where I'm just like, I never get tired of them. And
yeah.
then I also have pieces where I don't like them, and then suddenly, like a year later, I'm like, okay, this is pretty
That's
dope.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I try to, when I make some samples, I check to see if I still love it over time
Mm-hmm.
before actually producing it,
Yeah.
because I want people to still have that feeling, as you say, as like the excitement sticking around every time you put on the shirt. It just looks like it should. A factor in that is also that it keeps its fit, that it
Yeah.
doesn't
No.
get like reshaped, or that it
Mm.
doesn't fade in a wrong way, because some kind of fading obviously can be cool. Um,
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right with that, because I've also noticed that my preference for example, t-shirts now is that the quality of the t-shirt and the fit together is really, really important to me, because low quality t-shirts that are like this cheap cotton, I
mm,
think,
yeah,
it just gets wrinkly
yeah,
and you have to fucking iron it. And
yeah,
I don't like that. I would rather just have like a nice, solid material.
yeah.
And then I'm, of course, not training in it, so I'm not
No, yeah,
sweating in it. So it keeps the shape and the look.
yeah. I know what you mean, and
Mm.
that is what I'm aiming for every time. I always, whenever I want to make like a new product category, and I'm having to either develop or find some specific kind of material, I always rely on the guidance of my manufacturer, because obviously they've produced a lot more units than I have alone. So they have a lot of expertise in finding the correct fabric for these specific kind of moments in life we want to wear this product. So right now I'm making jerseys, and I mentioned that I want it to be not just for training, also for every day, but it needs to be able to withstand that stretching motion of when you're lifting weights, or the weathering of when you're running outside.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't just say, let's say I want some mesh fabric. I tell that specific thing to my manufacturer, so
Mm-hmm.
that they can find that exact material that doesn't lose its shape, that doesn't get wrinkly, that doesn't stain, that doesn't smell, that doesn't, all these factors that
Yeah.
you don't want, because that ruins the experience.
Man, I've had countless awesome sports where it just gets sweaty and smelly, and then
Yeah,
I can't get rid of it. I try everything
yeah,
to get rid of it, and it just doesn't
yeah.
doesn't work. So I know that. I wanted to ask you, in this time you've been building your brand, what's been your biggest mistake,
My biggest mistake
if
is,
you have one?
yeah, I'd say I have a lot of mistakes that I almost made.
Okay.
I In the beginning, I was very much thinking about what do I think is cool, and then kind of being caught in the moment of what brands are trending right now, and what can I extract from that. And looking back, I'm very glad I didn't make those products, because they would not have sold. And so I kind of taught myself to, if I have some weird idea of some odd product that I want to make, I sample it, just to like get that almost dopamine release of me having produced it, and then I wear it on the body, and I realize that it sucks, and so I don't produce it, and I just wear it as like home gear,
Mm-hmm.
in the couch or something. So that's the biggest mistakes that I've almost made, and I've almost made that many times.
Yeah. What do you think is the most important thing to take into consideration in regard to branding in fashion nowadays?
Yeah, I think it's more than just what you say. It's literally everything that you show. So it's in the typeface that you choose for your website, and it's how you display yourself in colors on Instagram, for example, and it's what's in the background of things on your Instagram.
Yeah.
So what's the environment that you take the photos in? Uh, Also, I've realized lately that you're not going to be a luxury brand, which is what I aim to be in like 15, 20 years. You're not going to be a luxury brand without having to invest in a gear also. So you're not gonna see Louis Vuitton taking their product photos on an iPhone, for example. You're gonna need a high quality camera, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no way getting around that. So I think it's the small details that really is the big thing in branding. Colors, typeface, all those stuff, all the stuff that I just mentioned.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've seen a lot of brands that I'm also supporting and that I like, who are really making use of the branding in regard to shooting in really, really cool settings
Yeah.
and creating a certain vibe around the brand.
Yeah.
Are there any brands that are currently inspiring you a lot in their branding?
Yeah, I was about to say actually. I know you like About Blank.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I really do love About
Yeah.
Blank.
Yeah,
Even though they have fallen a bit off
yeah,
for my personal taste.
in terms of quality or
No, not in terms of quality, but it's quite expensive. I think not that I have a problem. I think that their t-shirts are great, but I'm not so big on the other stuff they're doing.
okay, yeah. So the caps and
The caps, they look pretty cool, but I haven't had one yet. But I just I've been quite interested in the t-shirts, but that's about it actually.
yeah.
I really like the branding that they've done.
Yeah, they have a dope dope Instagram.
Yeah.
I actually looked at it this morning.
Yeah.
Just to like, I like getting some inspiration from a bunch of different brands. I try not to look at one brand too much because then I kind of fear being subconsciously copying what they're making.
But they've also done something which I think is quite interesting because they've used the same models throughout all of the campaigns. And I think that's created some kind of recognition factor, but it's also kind of made the models into these superstars, you know, on social media.
Yeah. Kind of like a Broken Planet, if you know that one.
No, I don't know that one.
It's a British streetwear brand, and they almost always use the same guys. I think one of them is called Danucci.
Okay.
And so you kind of know these figures, and that's, as you say, also become like a resemblance factor.
Yeah. All right, let's run through another one here. What do we got? What's a lot of people dream of starting a brand but never do it. From your perspective, what does it actually take to build a clothing brand?
What it takes is being able to say that you don't really care about, especially others' opinions, but also about what you think of yourself in that moment, because you can kind of cringe about yourself from some of the stuff that, or I can cringe about myself that some of the stuff that I make, but I realize that it's necessary to take a lot of risks, and it's very necessary to fail a bunch of times. So I think that people need to get over that initial fear of failing, because you're not gonna succeed without failing, and you're not gonna learn without failing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're spot on. And as we were talking about on the way up here, it's the same for me with doing this podcast.
Yeah,
It pushes me into the deep water, and
Yeah.
it pushes me to evolve and to fail and to learn communication. And that's initially what it's about. And I think if you don't get over the initial hump of putting yourself out there and
Yeah.
trying, you'll never actually figure out if you're good at it or not.
No, yeah. I have this quote from a guy that I looked up to in the bodybuilding world called Mike Mensa. He says, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try.
Yeah.
And that's true. And it's also scary, because if you don't try, you will never know how that life could have looked like. If you don't follow your dreams, you might have been really successful. You might have been able to make a living out of it, and you might have been able to do it fast. But most people are just scared, so they stick to that. I was about to say 9 to 5, but that's also some people's dream, and I can respect that, because you can find a business that you really love and you really want to work that 9 to 5 in that because you want to grow with them. But just being stuck in that day that they actually don't like, that's the biggest fear.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you, but I've also thought a lot lately about these 4 whys concept, you know, the what, why, when,
Mm-hmm.
and with who.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I try to base my life on.
Yeah.
And for me, the thought of a 9 to 5 does resonate in regard to having the security, but I just can't clock in somewhere and clock out and be around people who I don't feel that I'm on the same page with and who inspire me to grow. So for me, I think that's like an absolute necessity to have my own, to choose my own path in life.
Yeah. At least to think about those 4 Ys or 4 Ws, and then realizing, do I want to stay in this business that I'm working in this 9 to 5 for? Because when I have this experience that throughout the different companies that I've worked in, that every Monday people say, "Oh, I can't wait until it's Friday," and I've always thought like, damn,
Yeah, that's
I
tough,
never
man.
want to be you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually, a lot of people I know, they love Mondays more than they
Same.
like the weekends, because it's just time to lock in and fresh week, fresh start. You know, like you're retanked.
Yeah.
You've had the weekend off, and then boom, let's go.
You know, you made it when you lose all concept of what day it is.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't matter.
man. I've also personally, I see myself now spending all my time either studying, learning, acquiring new skill. And I think that's a necessary phase in any kind of personal brand development or any kind
100%.
of skill acquirement. You just have to have that hunger, and you have to have that willpower and dedication and discipline to just really put everything else aside. And I don't want to sound too judgy, but like people who watch Netflix every night are usually the ones who have the 9 to 5s.
Yeah. But that's also because sometimes it just becomes, I forgot what it's called, but like a regular thing.
Mundane.
Yeah, mundane. So they have this habit of doing this thing every night, and they just don't question it. They don't question, what could I actually be doing here that would further something that I actually want to achieve. Instead of that Netflix, what could I be, if I still want to consume some entertainment, could I be watching YouTube that expands my knowledge on some subject that I'm passionate about?
And I also think, like, when you put yourself into a situation where you're forced to learn, you then fail, and then you want to get better at whatever you failed at.
Yeah.
So it just presents itself the opportunity that, okay, I can go out and either learn to get better at this, or I can push the problem aside, kick the can down the road. And that's also one of the benefits, of just being able to go on YouTube now. You can fucking learn anything. Like, which I think is really interesting. But was there ever a time when you considered like giving up the brand?
I think I never realistically considered it. It will also be very counter to what Drago is about, because our whole motto is never quit.
Okay.
So if I quit, that kind of suck, right?
Yeah.
I've also I've also been very interested in joining some, let's say, corpsel, for example.
Okay.
Just to, obviously it'd be a good business marketing case.
Let's just quickly, corpsel. What would that be for the English?
Yeah, that'd be
some military.
Yeah. So let's say you it's kind of like a gimmick special forces recruitment training. So you are there. I think you're there for like a week, and then you have to like live, breathe, sleep, everything as like a special forces guy, and you have to really test your limits, or guy and girl. It's both female and males. So you're then taken into this scenario where the outside world doesn't exist, and you are like a special forces soldier. And the only way you're leaving is if you tap out. Then you're out.
Okay.
So it's testing limits. It's learning a lot about yourself, and it's also being realistic, I guess, because obviously some people have to tap out at some point when they reach the limit. So that's also why I want to try it. I want to really test my never quit.
That sounds quite extreme.
Yeah, I just I figured out it's not as easy as I thought getting into it. Because now they just choose people. You can't really sign up anymore, I think.
Yeah. I never really heard of it, to be honest, but I kind of been thinking a little bit lately about this concept of getting better 1% every day.
Yeah, Kaizen.
Yeah, and I really like the thought of just pushing yourself like just a little bit every day. And then there's like the extreme version where you throw yourself into these like triathlons and like these ultra phases where you're pushing yourself to your absolute limits. I think it's interesting when you say the brand, the motto for Draco is never quit.
Mm.
Is that something that you've had as like a motto for yourself in your personal life as well?
It's something that I've gotten from both of my parents, but primarily my father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He's
because I saw that was actually the reason why I reached out to you.
yeah.
Also, of course, because I know the brand, but because I saw the podcast and you mentioned something about your father being very influential
Mm-hmm.
in regard to
Yeah,
your childhood.
yeah. Both of my parents are great role models.
That's awesome.
Yeah, especially my dad, who he came from not very wealthy, very wealthy family. My grandmother had like, I think she had her first child when she was 18, and then she had the the next three in not a long time after, and she was working, I believe, as a janitor at a school, and she had to feed everybody, and everybody quickly had to become independent because she couldn't afford having to feed everyone. My dad always, I think he's joking, but I'm not sure. He says him and his sister had to share a kilo of ground meat uh, for a week.
Okay.
I'm again, I'm not sure if that's if that's true. I keep calling cap, but
Okay.
um, yeah. So and then he moved out when he was 14 and had to feed himself from that point. So he's been in
It's a hardworking man.
yeah, exactly, self-made,
Wow.
and he just retired. Doesn't want to say that. He says he's between jobs.
Mm.
But
I like that, man.
yeah, but yeah. So that's been a huge
So you
inspiration.
inherited a bit of his work ethic.
Yeah, because he's always said, "Never quit."
Mm-hmm.
It's like a sentence that he said throughout my whole life to both me and my little brother, that never quit and you can do anything, and kind of like hammered that thought into my brain.
So he supports you full on in this Draco
Yeah, he does. He does.
development.
Yeah, yeah. He more than supports me. My mother
Mm.
also.
I think a lot of people out there they must have like a contradicting situation where they might come from families and upbringings where their parents wanted them to get an education and
Hmm.
just go the safe route, and then they watch everything that's going on online and they're seeing all these kids on
Hmm.
social media who are building brands like this and taking it from 0 to 100,
Hmm.
and then suddenly they want to do it as well, but they
Hmm.
don't feel that it's going to be supported by their parents.
Yeah,
So I think that's great that you just had
yeah,
that support, which obviously shaped that you have
yeah.
been able to do this without
Mm.
any push from your background,
I
from your
think that you
family.
also, sorry to interrupt. I think that you also have to prove it to not just your parents, also to yourself, that this route that you're taking is realistic. Because
Mm,
I also thought before making Drago that I would be a full time personal trainer. I thought that like this was it. And I was doing some business and I was making some money, but it can like flip in a switch. So I think you really need to do it for some time before you can expect that people will support you as much as you actually hope to. Obviously, they should be encouraging you and saying you can do anything, but they're also gonna have your back. So my parents still want me, probably still now want me to want me to go to university
mm.
or
Yeah, my parents
something.
would be over the moon as well
Yeah,
if I suddenly
exactly.
started studying.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you have to like make it undeniable that you're going to do this thing and that you're going to succeed.
Yeah, I truly believe that if you can put your head down and get good at something, let's just give it a time frame of 6 months to a year, where no one fucking knows what you're doing or understands it, and then they see that you have something to offer,
Yeah,
and then the cards they can turn.
yeah,
But I think it's important to mention that you have to also give it a respectable amount of time.
yeah.
Just like becoming stronger
Hmm.
and building up endurance in the gym and becoming faster at running, or
Yeah.
you have to just give it some time where you won't see results,
Hmm.
and then suddenly you have the results. I know for me personally, I went through stages of my life where I was a very successful DJ, and
Hmm.
then now I've switched over to building this brand and trying to become a creator, so to say. And my parents, they didn't understand what I was doing actually until just like a couple of weeks ago, where I showed them some of my YouTube videos and what I've been working on. And now they can see that I've actually acquired a skill. I've learned to edit. I've learned to script. So, you know, like it takes some time before you have something to show for.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't really expect people to understand it as much as you do until you have shown them something, right? So you need to show them what you're able to produce in terms of something in the real life. Either like a physical product could obviously be something very tangible, but also just, let's say you want to create a community that you can show that people are engaged. Yeah, I think it's very important to be realistic about when to expect people to show us some kind of support.
I've also noticed that Draco is having a community of a lot of people who are athletic and training. Is that your friends, or is that strategic?
I think it's most of them have become friends along the way. When I initially started Drago, it was kind of a streetwear, sportswear hybrid brand. I was very inspired by some brands that I saw in the States. And as such, I was also very interested in bodybuilding. I still am. I go to the Danish championships every year just to spectate.
Okay.
But I then had some acquaintances, not really close friends or anything, that I knew from that scene because I had been producing some sports content and stuff. And I just reached out to them and said that I'd like to offer them this gift of a T-shirt, and then wrote a very sincere note of what I admired about them and send that with it, so that they'd have some kind of positive emotional attachment also to the brand like I have, and that it being genuine, it wasn't
that's dope, man.
in a deceptive way. But then I've just stuck to those acquaintances, and while Drago is moving further away from being a sportswear brand or activewear brand, it's still in the roots of the business. Being on a bodybuilding prep is very tough. That's probably some of the closest to never quit that I can imagine. Like, you really have to battle yourself mentally, having no fat and hating life and having no energy and no libido and anything.
Yeah, no, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both training enthusiasts, but I could never do that personally. Because I live this 90-10 rule in regard to like how I eat and train. But if I don't have that 10-20% where I can just fucking go balls to the wall and have some ice cream, and then I literally just feel like life is not worth living.
Yeah. I actually spoke to my girlfriend about a similar thing, because we're very into being conscious about the food that we eat, especially recently. But we've been that for around about a year, really in a hardcore way. So while I don't want to discuss the details of how how much attention we provide to like studies and stuff, I think what we do is we say, does this make sense? Like, does it make sense that this food is not good for me when it has some kind of different ingredients in it, such as heat, like warm pressed or not cold pressed seed oils and stuff like that, which is very controversial to speak about right now. But
no, it's fine.
Does that make sense in our mind that this would not be good? If it does, then we just don't eat it.
I agree, man. I think also the healthier you get and the more finely tuned your body is, the more sensitive you become to the unhealthy products and the unhealthy intakes. I noticed that a lot, actually. And I also just think it just feels better to eat healthy.
Yeah.
But I think that I personally need to have, those days off where I can just have a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've actually noticed, to be honest, the better shape you get in, the less I want it, because, I mean, you can't get around like taking your shirt off and just being super comfortable with your body and your presence and ultimately showing people that you are taking care of your body is a great sign to open a door to also starting business and friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that is a criteria to how I screen people in my life.
Yeah.
I can't hang out. I can't have people close to me who are not taking care of themselves, because the way they treat themselves is gonna ultimately, it's gonna become part of my energy. So I'm very, very aware of that.
Yeah.
How does your current like split look for training and building this brand?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people and a lot of young guys out there, they want to train, they want to build a company, they want to have a girlfriend. Like, how do you navigate in these areas? Like, what's the most important areas for you?
One of the most important areas, because she is so very supportive to me, is to make my girlfriend feel prioritized. And so ways that we're doing that is also being on the same training split. So we at least
You train together?
Yeah, we train together.
Oh, that's great, man.
Almost every time.
That's my biggest wish.
Yeah, and then I've kind of dropped the whole thing of having it's called like a static split. So something that I follow like every time. It's very fluid right now because I don't really always have the time to do everything in the program that I want to. So we follow her prioritization split, and then I do when she trains, like when she does hip thrusts, I avoid that, and then I just go and do some arms or something. But that's like one of the ways that I try to prioritize, especially like the training. But I've also come to realize that I can't really do 6 days a week anymore.
Okay.
So I'm doing like 3 times a week full body.
Yeah.
And then I really want to start running, but I suck at prioritizing it. But now it's a scheduled thing every Monday where I go running, and I want to increase that to 2 times a week. But I have that once, and running, you can get a lot done in a short amount of time. So I just do that in the Mondays, and then I try to weight train Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Yeah, I think also it's important to mention that once you build the amount of muscle that you clearly have built, it's a lot of muscle to carry around when you're running.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, I think they underestimate that if you want to run, you're gonna have to maybe jeopardize the muscle a little bit.
Yeah, especially in the legs.
But I think that it's ultimately about how it feels and how it fuels you. As long as you can use the training to clear your mind and to give you the necessary dopamine and well-being to perform in the other aspects of your life. That's what it is for me. I love to train twice a day sometimes if I can, because I just love training. And I love the fact that being able to do different sports opens different doors. So if I'm somewhere, I can always walk into a boxing gym and I can make friends quickly because I can box. Or if I can run, I can ask someone who I just met, hey, you want to go for a run? And maybe they're down for that. And if you can strength train, hey, should we meet up for a session? I know with strength training, I think a lot of people, they want to train alone. But I think with a girl, it's different, eh?
Yeah.
It's nice to train with your girlfriend.
Yeah, it is. It's very cozy, for lack of better words. It's something that strengthens your bond, definitely, especially when you want to help each other push harder, like spotting each other and getting that extra rep and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've also done, like you, a lot of sports. I used to do boxing also.
Okay.
And I had one fight.
How'd that go?
I won.
Oh,
So
good.
It was I stopped on
amateur
top.
fight.
Yeah. It was a point-based one.
Yeah. So 3 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I won 31-30. But the newspaper in Gladsaxe said that I won 31-26.
It's also crazy that in that world, people, they train so extremely hard for so long amounts of time to then go up and perform for such short time.
Yeah.
And then it's all over.
Talking about bodybuilding, or you're talking about
like boxing, for
sports?
example.
Yeah, boxing.
Especially like amateur, where these guys are and girls that training their asses off. And then they go up and it's over in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
15 minutes, boom.
Yeah, some cases first round.
Yeah, some cases first round.
Not amateur, obviously, but once you get to the knockout stages.
Yeah. Yeah, so next one is, do you ever feel pressure to constantly grind? And how do you decide when to step back?
I feel the pressure mostly from myself. But that's also because I'm very. I quickly get guilty if I do something that I don't see as productive.
Yeah.
So I've always been a very big lover of games. Like played Counter Strike for a long time, and I still that's like my worst habit, loving games, because it can consume so much time. So I've gotten in the habit of like every time I play one game and then I just uninstall the game and then I'd have to go through like setting it all up again and
Make it hard for
yeah,
yourself.
making it hard for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in general, I I try to be. I think I'm very realistic also in terms of what I can do. So I recognize that there's 100% every day, and that might not be a an objective 100%. So some days my 100% is like 40, and some days my 100% is 70. But I want to use those non-productive days. They are still productive, but not as productive, to recharge so that my next day is going to be as close to 100% as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I do sometimes, like a couple times a month, have off evenings. So where I just take those like last 3 hours in the day, and I just lay in the couch and I just do something that can at least boost my creativity. So watch some YouTube video, or I really like watching the behind the brands of Represent.
Mm-hmm. What's the
Also,
name of that guy?
George
Yeah,
Eden.
he got quite big as well. His personal brand took off.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's kind of the personal brand father,
Mm-hmm.
almost, in the clothing brand business, at least.
Yeah, he's very, very wealthy now as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he did come from a very. I don't know his whole life story, but I'd imagine a pretty good upbringing. His dad had like I think it was a car restoration, some
Mhm.
kind of business, maybe mechanic kind of thing. And so he was provided with like a separate house away from the primary house where he could have like his whole stock and do the business from. Um, he had a Rolls Royce from a young age also, which kind of doesn't come with no money.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, but he's definitely been able to supersede what his initial upbringing had put him into.
Do you have like specific plans for your week? So like, do you have like a specific, for example, content day or like a branding day, or how do you go about like structuring your weeks?
I think it's very at this point it's very intuitive, but I've also gotten very good at prioritizing tasks. So in the beginning, I actually just watched a podcast on the way over here from Alex Hormozy,
Mhm.
and he was talking about you being at some level in your business. Let's say level 3. You've just beaten the boss on level 2, so now that's easy. But you kind of
Yeah, I
like
heard that. I
easy,
heard
so
that.
you
Yeah.
get back to that one and you just keep doing that. And for me, I think that was email marketing, because I just gotten so good at it, and it was just it's an easy dopamine rush. Like, you really feel like you're productive. So you go and make these emails. This flow, it's called. So like when people sign up for emails, they get a whole flow.
It's automated
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. And I just kept wanting to like make that better. It was obviously still like a good thing because I was making it better and I was becoming better every day. But I also had to realize that at that point, the amount of traffic that I had to the website was so small that the data didn't really matter. So while this email did look like it was performing better than the one I had made before, it was not statistical significant. It's called when you don't have enough visitors to actually prove that the data that's shown is accurate.
Mhm.
So that's when it really like started to I really started to value the prioritization of tasks that would move the needle the most compared to what I could be doing. Like, so if I put an hour in, how much does that do compared to if I put an hour in here? So that's just kind of trained my intuitive workflow, I guess. So that's also why I don't really have a dedicated content day, and I don't really have a dedicated a branding day or something. It's just I spend so many hours on Drago that I can't really help but getting to everything that I need to at some point.
Yeah. It's funny. This guy, he says something, and I think it kind of relates to what we're talking about. But he says that this woman walks into a restaurant and Picasso's is drawing a picture on a tissue,
Mm-hmm.
and then she asks him how much is it, and he says it's $20,000, and she
Mm-hmm.
says, but you only spent 5 minutes
Yeah.
drawing it, and he says, no, I spent a lifetime doing
Yeah.
it. And I think, that's basically kind of what we're talking about here.
Mhm.
Like, you just don't fucking stop. Like, you just
Yeah.
there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
There's always something you can optimize, get better at.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever like feel that there's maybe burnout on the way, or that you just need to like switch off? Because sometimes I feel that in the evenings, I can be like, okay, my brain is spent. I
Yeah.
need to just watch a series, or like at least try just to wind down.
Yeah.
I really want to get back into like meditating and like having a good night routine like
Mhm.
lately, because I'm just so into the deep of learning
Yeah.
that I basically literally just fall asleep
Yeah.
while when I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
But do you have any kind of like recommendations for avoiding burnout in this industry?
I think it's also about doing something that you're truly passionate about.
Yeah. It doesn't,
Yeah.
like, as they say, sorry to interrupt, but as they
Yeah.
say, it should look like work to
Yeah.
others, but it should
Feel like play.
feel like play to you.
Yeah.
I love
exactly.
that, man.
Yeah. So that's I think that's why I'm able to work so much, because I've never tried to count how many hours I work every week, but it's a lot. And I think it feels like nothing, because when I'm working, it feels like if somebody else was watching like a Netflix show, the same kind of enjoyment and entertainment and dopamine rush when I'm sitting like making an email, or when I'm creating this new product, or when I'm feeling different fabrics from a color card that my manufacturer has sent me, and testing like a bunch of different things. I think that's what I enjoy to do, so I don't really feel as much of a burnout. But the times that I find is the most difficult in terms of like a mindset thing is actually just after a release, or like a big collection has
To
just
keep the
dropped.
expectations down.
No, it's not. It's not so much as the result. It's more like, damn, there's quite a long time now until I get this high again of releasing
Mm.
something. So now I just dropped the biggest collection I've ever dropped. Sunday, 1.5 weeks ago, I think, and I'm always in the process of sampling something, but there's still a lead time of from when I place that order until I receive it.
Mm.
And so I need to get better at that period in between of what I'm not teasing a new drop, because
Yeah.
that's when I really get to like unfold my creativity and just do a bunch of shit that I love.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like your year kind of mapped out in regard to this drop thing? Because I know that most brands, they're doing drops seasonally, right?
hmm
But is there like, let's just say like a rough estimate of what's current for drops?
Yeah, I have a Microsoft To Do where I just note down everything, and I have it scheduled, or at least put it in the rows of, this is what I want to make first, this is what I want, and then a lot of things can happen in between. So I just got a round of 13 samples home, and I realized that one thing is 3 of the samples didn't turn out as I wanted, so I don't want to release them. And then they have to wait until next year because it's very seasonal. Um, but another thing is, I kind of lost my train of thought. What did you say?
No, just in
Oh yeah,
in regard to
yeah,
drops, like, do you
yeah,
have like some kind of idea, like, okay, this year I want to do 4 drops,
yeah.
or
I
and then you
haven't.
like basically just you chip away at that.
Yeah, I have a goal to do like 1 drop a month.
1 drop a month, but that
Yeah,
could be one piece, or is that a
that could be
collection?
one piece. I've kind of at least mentally gone away from the thought of doing one piece now, because I've gotten addicted to the bigger collections, and you can like tell a story around this whole
Yeah.
thing. Um, but yeah, so it's multiple pieces. Also, the next connection is gonna be multiple pieces. But I do try to have also those bigger seasonal collections, such as like a fall, winter, or a spring, summer. But I enjoy crafting those smaller capsules in between,
Mm-hmm.
which can also be like story oriented. So I want to make the next big collection is going to be called Heritage.
Heritage.
Yeah. And that's
Let's
going to
yeah,
be,
tell us about it.
yeah, that's going to be focused around like a legacy kind of thing. something that is timeless and something that is inherently luxurious in a way without being like forced. So it's just going to be about quality,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be about a timeless design. Um, and I really think it's going to be my favorite collection ever. Also because it's going to be more everyday wear. It's going to be some shirts, some suit pants, some. When I say shirts, I mean like a button-up shirt,
Okay.
but more everyday based, not like a suit shirt. And then some t-shirts, and then I also want to make a wallet and a duffel bag and some kind of like more accessory-ish things that clothing brands don't normally make,
Mm-hmm.
just to not limit myself.
Yeah.
Because essentially, I don't want Drago to be a clothing brand. I want it to just be a brand
Yeah.
or the brand for some people.
And do you have any do you have any thoughts about throwing like a big budget into marketing? Because I'm thinking that most brands, they probably have to take one big investment at some point
Hmm.
to like do big shoots,
Yeah,
like fly to Ibiza or
yeah,
like about blank, you know?
yeah,
That's a pretty big setup.
yeah,
They got to fly out the whole crew.
yeah.
They got to hire. They probably, I'm sure they have a photographer
Hmm.
who they're working with, and they got to get all the models out there. I mean, that's quite a big production.
Yeah,
Is that something that you think about?
yeah. We've recently invested a lot more in shoots. So we did our first actual studio shoot for this drop, and I really felt like that did a lot for the brand. We also reworked the whole website to fit this new quality shoot. But I've really been in love with Lake Como this past year since like start of summer, and I really want to go places where the scenery can just bring up the whole brand perception. So again, the environment that you put the clothes in is going to reflect on how much value the person perceives of the clothing product. So kind of that well, perceived value it's called. But when you see
Yeah,
something in a nice environment, you instantly think that it's going to be worth more and
mm.
that you're going to love it more.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
when I don't know if you've heard about it, when you know Virgil Abloh.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
the old schooler.
yeah, the off white
He's a
guy.
legend, man.
Yeah, off white guy.
But isn't he? Is he?
Yeah, he died
He
sadly.
died. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
What did he die from?
Cancer, I believe.
He was quite young though.
Yeah, he
Then.
was. I think it was 40-ish. But he said he had this analogy of if you take a like a candle, and this candle is made of a metal, and it's like he showed it on camera. It's like a dented camera, no candle thing. Um, if you put this in like a workshop where it's messy and it's dusty and it's unclean and a regular workers environment where you don't really pay attention to the aesthetic, it's just about being functional and being able to work as well as possible, then the perceived value is going to be this is probably trash.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put it in the Louvre or something like next to the Mona Lisa,
Yeah.
this candle is going to look like art, and it's going to be perceived as being perhaps worth millions of dollars while it's just metal that's dented.
Yeah.
So just changing the environment that something is in for like a photo shoot, for example, can instantly like raise the expectations of the product for when the customer buys it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I think the first impression you get when you jump onto a brand or you become aware of a brand is the actual aesthetic look of
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
But then it also needs to be you need to meet that expectation in the product,
Yeah,
and when you get it,
when they have it in hand.
yeah, I haven't I don't have any examples of brands where I've been like, wow, you've got an amazing profile and
Hmm.
brand, and then I've tried the product and it's just
Yeah,
fucking not what I expected.
yeah. I actually used to. I bought my first Represent piece in 2016 or something, and that was a pair of jeans, and they came in this like magnetic box. You opened it; they were like presented very nicely, and I didn't buy from them for quite a long time because I just had other hobbies and other brands that I wanted to buy from. But then when I bought from them later on, I think this would have been in like 2020 ish, 4 years later. It arrived in a plastic bag, and I was very disappointed because I had this initial experience of when it arrived in like this luxurious box and everything about the jeans just was more valuable to me because it arrived in this box. I didn't even throw the box out for like several years. I'm very bad at throwing away packaging if it looks nice. So that's also what I want to provide for my customers. But that was a one case thing where I was kind of disappointed. But I also think if my first purchase from Represent was those later years when it arrived in a bag, it would have been just fine. So I think it's also about setting a standard and then not going down from that, which sadly is what a lot of brands do because they want to profit more per unit.
Man, I think it's so interesting to think that like everything in life is packaged from the moment you walk in the door to the moment you look someone in the eye to the moment you open your mouth. Like it all goes together, you know, and it all needs to be shaped to perfection actually. Of course, like it's not an emotional experience for most people to buy an item, but I personally really can relate to that because, you know, as they say, it's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the happiness of pursuit. So when I place an order and I'm waiting for it to come and then it comes to the door and it looks nice and I open it up and it's appealing already before I've had the actual product, that's really cool. I wanted to ask you also, is there any city that you want to visit in regard to fashion or country?
I've been talking. I really want to go to Italy soon, but I also really want to go to China. I really want to. One thing is I want to go meet my manufacturer, just to get a better relationship with them, and also that's going to help with everything in terms of raising the quality and also seeing. I've done a lot of background checking on them.
Is he secret or is he someone you would share to other potential brand developers?
It's something I've shared with my closer friends who have started.
Yeah, so you've given the contact.
Yeah.
That's cool.
To a few people at this point, but I don't really go around passing it around.
Yeah, that's fair enough though.
Yeah, but also I have a good relationship with them, so I also want to help their business. And inherently, when I provide them more business, it's going to make me like a better client. In one way or another. But I really want to go to Guangzhou because they have these. I probably butchered that name because it's in Chinese and I don't speak Mandarin.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Guangzhou or something. Because it's pretty much like the apparel capital of China.
Okay.
It could also be the apparel capital of the world. They have these like almost the mega super stores of just fabric. And I could geek out in those stores, like just go around touching different kinds of material, like maybe like some kind of vegan crocodile leather or something like a cowhide, full grain leather, and some different kinds of cotton. I could spend hours there.
Yeah.
So I very much like to go there. But closer, I'd like to go to Monaco. I think I could do a crazy shoot in Monaco. And I'd like to go to Sicily, not so much because it's a clothing spot, but because I've heard a lot about it and it just looks appealing also. Portofino, a bunch of spots in Italy. I just love Italy.
Yeah, big one for me is I'm gonna go to Japan soon.
Yeah, also Japan.
Yeah, but that's more of just a cultural.
You go in Tokyo or?
Yeah, no, I want to go and check out. I don't even know if this is Japan, but Osaka.
Yeah, that's Japan.
Yeah, Osaka.
Kyoto.
Kyoto. Those places.
Yeah.
I just caught so many vlogs about people saying that it's been a crazy experience there. Everything from the food, to the culture, the people, the vibe, the sceneries.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one for me, and also for the fashion. I think.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff.
Dripped out.
Yeah, but what do you think of the actual scene in Copenhagen? Because it doesn't strike me as you're someone who's involved in the scene that much in regard to like the creators at home who are making brands.
Yeah, I think I've started to get more into like the streetwear scene of Denmark and of Copenhagen. We're starting to get featured on some different Instagram sites, and we're starting to do a bunch of more collaborations with people. Starting to see Drago on some stages while people are performing, which is very dope. I've always looked forward to that. But
any artists that we might know?
Yeah, there's an up and coming one who we're becoming.
Are you like invested in them? Where you'd be like, if it was a shit artist, you'd say, please don't wear my clothes.
Yeah. If they bought it themselves, cool.
Yeah, fine.
But
That's every man for himself.
yeah, it's all about I want to be associated with quality.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't like this person's music, I wouldn't have given them the free clothing that I
Yeah,
have.
no.
But it's also about supporting people who are doing something unique.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also why I have clothing here for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just recognizing, kind of cringy to say, but like game is game, like you recognize game. So I want to. That's also initially what I did when I passed around the gifts for different people in the bodybuilding community, because I had this idolization of something they did, and so I kind of want to reward that in some way.
Yeah, the community aspect you're building is great.
Yeah, I really try to build something genuine where people can motivate each other and where I can motivate them. So like we have this newsletter where where we send out 2 to 3 campaigns every week, and I always try to make one of them a personal letter from me,
Mm-hmm.
where I say something that's like happened in my life that has inspired me, or this quote, or this analogy, or something, and like a reminder. Sometimes it's literally just a mail reminder of me saying, "Hey," and then like their name. I just want to remind you that you can do anything, and that this idea that you have is not too big, and you have to strive for these unimaginable, unrealistic things, because everything was unrealistic at some point. Like imagine in the early 1900s when people were riding on horses, and Ford just came in this metal thing with wheels that was just driving itself, right? That seemed like a spaceship at that point.
Yeah.
So just striving to accomplish these very unrealistic things is something that I want to help people get started with.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think it reminds me also of what I'm trying to do with my own brand, which is essentially put myself in a position where I can open doors to be around people
Yeah.
who I see as inspiring
hmm
and who I want to become. And that's the beauty of building community.
Yeah.
Like being able to meet up with people and vibe about the same things and essentially grow together
Yeah.
is just a huge quality of life, in my opinion. So I think that's the way forward. But no, just back to the question about the Copenhagen scene. Like you really don't have that much to say about it in regard to like.
No, I mean I've wanted to attend some fashion weeks.
Yeah.
But I also feel like some of it is not really in the realm of what I want. I can kind of give a perspective in terms of, if represents history. At one point, they wanted to be like a runway brand, so they wanted to have these luxury collections that looked good on stage and stuff. But they realized that they were just chasing this because they thought that it was right. So while I can't deny that at some point I'd find it intriguing to like set up shop at Fashion Week, and I really want to do like Fashion Week events, or like at least something similar. Doesn't have to be at Fashion Week. I don't really see myself as wanting to kind of push myself onto that community until I feel that I've established a base that is relevant to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. I feel like I'm maybe not. Maybe I'm comparing myself to like very fashiony brands right now, and that's why I have this perception. But I feel like Drago right now is a bit far away from what people want over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really want to annoy them.
No, I think that's a good point of view and a good perspective. Keep your head down and put the work in, and then they'll come to you.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's meant to be. And I think also like nowadays, because the entry boundaries have changed so much for young people who want to start a fashion brand, it doesn't have to be some kind of networking thing. You don't need to be
Yeah.
out and wasting your time chatting shit with people. You just need to bring something awesome to the table.
Yeah.
Create quality.
Yeah.
Create like pieces and products that are undeniable.
Yeah.
And then the rest will happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that's very big in fashion, because you can't really sell fashion products on features, because everything is made of at least semi-decent quality. So you can't really say, oh, this t-shirt is high quality, and then people will just flock around it. You have to actually base the demand, or the products, the demand is going to be based on the product. So you need something that stands out in itself. You need something where when people look at it and the vibe and the environment and the branding, that's going to attract them. It's not going to be something like, yeah, as I said, high quality material or breathable or these different things that might work in sportswear, and you can't really use these unique selling propositions in the same way that supplement brand could, for example, where they say this is going to make you less tired, this is going to make you more awake in the morning, because a t-shirt's not going to do anything for you except
make you
feel good.
Yeah.
And kind of what I also want to do is make it remind people of what they want to do. That's also why it says like never quit, and on the back of this t-shirt it says always ambitious. So having that reminder being kind of what's unique about it. But yeah, as you say, it's not going to do much except make you feel good and make you kind of change your mindset.
Yeah, I mean, you wear clothes. Well, I wear clothes at least because it makes me feel good, of course, and I feel like the brand has some perceived value that puts me in a box with some other people who I perceive as being of
something
value.
you want to be associated with.
And that's something that I think is probably the hardest part in regard to building the brand, because that takes time.
Yeah.
Because people are so selective nowadays,
Yeah.
and people always expect things to be gone quite quickly in regard to, if they don't see that you're sustainable in your brand development and you fall off, then I think people are quick to jump onto the next.
Yeah. I really think, sorry.
Yeah, no, for example, with like brands, like About Blank, who have just been like grinding the last 4 or 5 years. And of course, they've gotten huge now. And I could definitely imagine that they've got big investors on, and it's huge, but if they had fallen off at some point, then I don't think people would have hesitated to jump onto the next big thing,
Yeah.
So you just have to keep on pushing the value of the brand and reminding people of why they want to wear the brand.
I really feel like speed is a big thing in business. If you don't have this perception of things are moving, then people are going to jump ship because they want to rock with something that makes them feel like they are a part of this big thing. And so that's also why a part of why I want to do like collections every 1.5 months, while also maintaining and improving the quality every time, is that I want to capture that momentum and just keep things rolling like a snowball running down the hill, because then people might jump ship if it's too long. That's also why you have to post every so and so days on Instagram, because then it kind of looks like you're dead if you don't.
Yeah, that thing is, of course, a whole world for itself in regard to how to best utilize the social media. But what I am actually interested in is also, have you considered yourself as a personal brand while making Drago?
I think I have, because essentially me being the front face of it in the beginning, me being the model on every product shoot, I think that that's going to be the recognizable factor for a lot of people, because they don't know the brand. So that might have been what's drawn them to it initially. I think now it's standing on its own 2 feet. But I still feel like a lot of people like Drago because what I'm saying through it. So I definitely feel like there's a personal brand aspect to it. Yeah, it's not as big as I want it to be, but I also at the same time don't want to be Drago. While I am Drago, I also want it to be its own unit.
Yeah, no,
in
for
one
sure.
way.
I just think it's really interesting that this whole personal brand thing has taken off the way it has on the internet and in the world, in regard to, if you can create some kind of attraction to you and your story, and then you have a brand that is working for you, that can just enhance the brand.
Yeah.
And that could be, something as small as that. If people see you having a really dope relationship with your girlfriend, and they really just like who you are, and then they're more prone to buy your fucking your brand,
100%.
Whereas back in the day, the founders of companies, they were like these
obscure thing.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like these people out of
Yeah.
reach, and like you never saw them anywhere.
Yeah.
Where now I feel like, you know, for example, with About Blank, like everyone I think knows Jack the Lad.
Mhm.
He's also got quite a big personal brand online, even though he doesn't do that much
Yeah.
socially. But I think it's quite interesting that that's also become, yeah, quite an impactful
Mhm.
position
Yeah.
and role you can implement into the branding.
I think
So
it
I was just
was
interested in hearing
yeah.
if you thought of taking it to like the next
Yeah.
level with your personal
I
brand.
definitely will, and I have invested in some camera gear recently, which is going to make it up to the standard of what I want. So it's in the cards, and it's definitely en route.
So if I call you up in like a couple of years from now and I'm like, hey brother, what's going on?
Hmm.
What do you think you're gonna be telling me?
I think that I will be well on my way to reach my goals.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hope you do.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to follow you guys, and I also think to see the personal aspect of how you're approaching it is really interesting to me, because I think what I was interested in talking to you about today was basically what it takes to start a brand,
Hmm.
and you know, getting to where you are now, which is kind of like at the still the beginning, the early
Hmm.
phases, but you're building and it's growing and it's getting more and more attention. And there's so many young creators and aspiring clothes designers who just don't know how to get started.
Yeah.
They don't have the balls uh, to 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 put down 50,000 Danish crowns to get
Yeah.
their first pieces done. So I think it's really inspiring for people to hear, you know, a
Yeah.
little bit
I
behind
really
the
hope to
scenes.
have some positive impact
Yeah,
on
no,
people.
absolutely. Yeah, I think we covered some good ground actually.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you the final question, which is the basis of the podcast. So, if there was one time in your life where people told you you can't, but you proved them otherwise,
Hmm. Mm. I think there's never been a big moment where somebody told me that I couldn't do something, but there's been those kind of like shades thrown at you, not directly, but I've definitely heard about some friends who have said to other friends that what they think I do is cringy,
mm-hmm.
and what that makes me do is just ball out in a
Yeah,
way, like
okay, that's got the reverse
because
effect.
it's gonna be cringy, and
Yeah,
I don't care because that's the difference of what's making me be successful in 15, 20 years, or at least what I consider successful. I have some personal goals, so that's the shade or the doubt
mm.
from some people is going to make me become what they think is not cringy anymore.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, because they will always think you're weird and they'll laugh at you and they'll giggle at you, but then when you've made it, they'll
Yeah, then
come
you're
up
cool.
and want to
Yeah,
fucking stand next to you.
yeah,
And I love you for saying that, because I totally need to be reminded of that as
hmm,
well. Like, it's not going to be wins all the time. There's going to
yeah,
be days where you're going to overthink
hmm,
what other people think, but you have to stick to the plan. And
yeah,
I'm super happy to see you guys moving forward and moving up. I'm excited to follow the journey. Yeah, we have some clothes that I think we should quickly roll
yeah.
on.
Should I get that?
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will.
I think you should. Just so we can show a little bit. Is this from the new collection?
Yeah, that's from the new collection. So this is probably one of the most anticipated pieces,
Okay,
which is the camo shirt.
the camo
Yeah,
shirt.
which is a short sleeve shirt.
Oh man, okay, the quality is.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do was have a shirt that isn't kind of the regular dress shirt. So this one is kind of rigid at first. When you put it on body, it softens up, but it's 100% cotton,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that has a like a unique shape, I'd say. And we have have really nailed this one in terms of both fit and details. So there's this embroidery on the front left chest pocket, and there's this embroidery on the rear neck, which says "meant for more." So I really think that this just captures what we want to do with Drago.
It looks really nice. I am looking forward to checking it out.
And then we have the cap,
which
is inspired by this love for, well, I'd say just speed or like performance, because a really big performance sport is obviously racing, like Formula One and Isle of Man racing. So I've tried to capture this obsession that I have for that kind of performance in a cap.
That is pretty nice, man.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go.
And it probably has what I think is some of the best fits for like a cap. You can obviously adjust it on the back.
It's a bit trucker, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a trucker. It's kind of like the one that I have on, but just not mesh.
I've never been a trucker guy.
No, you might be now.
I might be now. Yeah, maybe you've turned me to the dark side. Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Green is also nice and earthy.
Yeah. It's definitely, I call the color British racing green.
Yeah. Looks super nice, man. I think this is a great combo too.
Yeah.
This is also, I mean, it's quite thick in material, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like I always wear it with like a tank top.
Yeah.
With like a white tank top, this one, and like some brown track pants or something. It looks dope.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna rock this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it on after this. Listen, brother, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and giving some insight and hopefully inspiring a bunch of young guys out there and people who want to get started. I think, to put yourself into the fire and to go for building your dream takes a lot. And it's the first part which is the hardest.
Yeah.
And you have gotten over the first hurdle. And that's amazing, So
there's this Arnold Schwarzenegger quote which says, "The first million is the hardest, so start with number 2."
Yeah.
And while he said it as a joke, it's kind of inspirational because you could just imagine this is the second one you're making. So the first one is already done. One of my friends says the success or the product that you want is already made. You just have to go get it.
Okay, wait. I need that one more time. Come again?
He says it with money. He says the money's already printed, so you just have to go get it.
Yeah, okay.
But it's essentially with anything. What you want, the result already exists. You just need to go get it.
Yeah. Man, that is a good one to finish up on. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. And we really look forward to, and I look really forward to just following the brand and following you in general.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks a lot, man.